Hi guys, this is Gene. First, before we get into this video, I want to talk about my Star Wars Rogue One video. I want to thank you guys because it's been my most viewed video, and the comments have been great. I got a lot more subscribers now. I went from 62 to 80. So I think of what we had to say, some of us in the comments, I think has resonated with some people. Again, this channel isn't about being an activist so much. It's more my therapy after my stroke. But also, as an older guy, I want to get out some information to the guys or the millennials or the guys after me, I guess the Generation X or whatever. And to give you something that I didn't have, that we didn't have the internet when I was growing up. It would have been nice to know some of these things and figure out things before getting yourselves into the wrong area. As you can know, that my call sign on this is now ManuFanatic99. I used to be Man Writes On, or Rants On, MRA. I decided to take that away. I still advocate for men issues, and I still talk about them, but I think sometimes just having that out there, people are not going to come in and listen to what you have to say. So, but I'm still an MRA. Also, what was I going to say? Yeah, I already started this before, then the phone rang and all that stuff, so I'm trying to remember what I had to say before. But what this is this is John the Other, somebody I used to watch, or I still watch. He got me into MRAs probably 3 or 4 years ago. He was a big-time star at the Voice for Men, but he left there was a lot of drama with that, and I kind of like stopped watching him. And then he kind of like came back as a mid-cow. So he talks about Laci Green, and she has a video out there about rape that we should always listen and believe because women never lie. That false accusers, it's a very small thing, so we should just always believe. Now, he said this video, I think what he did was great. I think that he, basically cheered her out. Now, she has over 1 million subscribers, so she doesn't care. He's only got 15,000. Also, Bass or Zerse did it as well, destroyed her as well. But both those guys, even though they're men, all those guys are a little bit younger than me, and none of them have kids, and none of them have female kids. So, as a father of 2 daughters, and I hope that those of us who watch this, from me, if you're not familiar with John the Other and Zerse, I'll put him in my download, whatever below, and you should go look at their stuff. But those who are my age or maybe have kids or have female kids, Laci Green to me is a predator of female minds, and so I want to show you this clip. It's about 1 minute long, and then I'm going to come back and give you my view as a father of somebody that I have 2 girls that adults now. They're a little different than normal, and I'll talk about it as well. But let me start this up. Hopefully the phone won't call again, and I'll get to say what we've got to say. Now, he gets upset in this, so just be warned. Be warned.
On Laci Green justifying and validating this continued trend. People are dying because of this. People are going to jail. Their lives, their careers, their families are being destroyed over frivolous, idiotic, puerile, easily refutable false allegations. And Laci is justifying it and saying it's all okay. And that our perception that this is happening is just a rape myth. Shame on you, Laci, you despicable human being. And I don't say that often.
One, most perpetrators aren't greasy, creepy guys who hang out in the shadows. They're just regular people in our lives. When fans, friends, family, coworkers find out that someone that they know and love did something terrible.
Now, the idea that Laci is selling here is the feminist rhetoric, the feminist mythology or dogma, whatever you want to call it, that every man is a rapist, that all men are rapists, because we think of rape as a violent crime, a crime of predation, or something that a sociopath or a predator would commit. But she's blurring the two together. She's saying that Rapists are the nice guys, the average guys. The nice guys are the guy working next to you, the guy at the next desk, the taxi driver, the Uber driver, your brother or your brother's friend. She's selling you this terror, this fear and loathing and hatred, and I think that's what a despicable, horrendous, horrible human being does.
I'll be honest with you. I agree with everything he said there, and I'm going to tell you why. In my other video that you guys watched on Rogue One, because sometimes the people that came in the comments where we're talking more about, you know, the feminist overtone in Star Wars and that type of stuff, and part of the video also talked about the shaming of men that we do, and men do it to other men as well. And this area that John talks about here, that what's happened with feminists now is that they are selling this narrative that basically every other man around you are potential rapists. And it's kind of strange because when this comes back to the whole thing about if I say that's a bunch of bullshit, I might be called certain things like a misogynist, saying, oh, you don't think we should be scared of men or something like that? And I say, well, no, you should be vigilant to what you do. And then that's when they call me a misogynist, because they, in their mind, they think that they should have they should have no responsibility at any time. They think that you know, the whole slut walk phenomenon, when they go out there and they can wear nothing and they think that that's okay, instead of when a guy comes up or a woman even says, maybe you should get some defense courses, maybe you shouldn't go out at a certain time at night in the wrong part of town, maybe you should be aware of your surroundings, and they get upset and they call you misogynist, or if you're a female, you have an internal misogyny because their body can't, you know, there's no one's entitled to their body. And so but what I want to talk about is this narrative that they're spreading. And when somebody like Laci Green, who has over 1 million subscribers, who claims that she's an expert in these areas, and tells impressionable young girls that every man around the corner, every man sitting next to them in school are potential rapists, even though she will color it to something else, she would never say that probably in front of her dad, and she was saying this rhetoric. And it's so girls at the age of 12 or 13, because most of her viewership is somebody from that age, the ones that turn into the Tumblr feminists, the ones that go off to college and want to go to gender studies, and they have this thing in in their mind, and they take that into academia, and they start in these groups, and they have this thing already planted in their mind saying that all men are rapists. Now, almost all men, and why I want to talk about this is because I can see it happening in my daughter's generation. Almost all men abhor whenever a man does anything to a woman. You can look on YouTube right now, and maybe I'll link it below, that anytime a woman is touched, that white knights come out from everywhere. Or you hear comments out there, you shouldn't do it, you shouldn't do that, you never could touch a woman. We hate it. It's something that we were born with. And when Laci Green sits there and says that most rapists aren't the guys in the alleyways that look like greasy type characters, factually she's wrong. Now, I'm going to try to bring this out there and actually explain it to you. Now, there isn't the guy that looks behind the bush and comes out, you know, in our dreams or in those movies or something like that. But most, I hate to say this, most real rape or real rapists are serial rapists. So they know what they're going after at, and they figure out the type of victim that they want. Normally it's somebody that allows themselves, you can't say that, but doesn't have the wherewithal to take care of her surroundings. So he waits for that person, and then they go after that person. Almost all of that, of the real rape, and there is a difference between date rape, or what you thought was rape, or consent or regret rape, or the actual I got this woman and I went into her house and I forced rape on her and did what I had to do, and then I do it again and again and again. That is the normal about the most the normal pathology of a rapist, not your brother or your friend's brother or someone in the guy that looks nice down the road. Why would she is selling she is selling this narrative to girls, and why would they ever look at a man as a potential mate later on in life? Because in the back of their mind, they've heard this harlatan, someone who has no idea what she's talking about, that paints all men the same way, just because, hey, it could be any of us. To me, I'm not going to say it's child abuse, but what she's done should be called out. It should be called out forcibly. It should be called out by guys and women that have a bigger platform than me. There is no excuse for this. She knows exactly what she's doing. She's using this feminist bullshit theory that all men are oppressors, that just wait, there's going to be a time that we're going to rape somebody based on some bullshit studies or something like that, saying that, well, we looked at men and men said if they had the ability they would do things like that. It's so infuriating to me. And as a father of two girls that have never experienced any of this, never been sexually assaulted, I talk to them at length that you have to be vigilant where they're at. And it's not because that I think that all men are bad. What you do is that you have to be vigilant in what you're going to do. It could be, if it was just me going into certain parts around here at night and something happens to me, I would never say that it's my fault 100%. But at the same time, what the fuck was I doing there at night? And but we can't. It's hard for us, a guy, to sit there and say, "Hey, you shouldn't be going there." Well, and if you have that mind frame that says I can do whatever I wanted to do, and if something happens to me, I'm always going to be a victim. Look, nobody deserves to be raped, okay? But the vast, almost 99% of the real rape is what she claims it's not. It is that stranger rape that comes into your house or finds you somewhere where no one's around and does it and goes on, and they do it again and they do it again and do it again. The ones that they're talking about, because they blurred the thing so much, and John kind of like touched on that the idea of what is real rape now is just days after you can come back and say, well, I didn't really like that. 10 years ago, I used to laugh at that notion. I was like, women wouldn't do that. They wouldn't do it. Then I saw it happen. As a supervisor, I saw it happening. And we see there are plenty of studies that he talked about, and also a video where women said that something happened to them, and there's no evidence of it, and they just do it to conspire against men. So I don't know what the issue is here. Why feminists continually do this? I think at the end of the day, it's just because it allows them to keep on with their industry, so they get more money from the government, and we are the easy person to go after. And most guys will just sit there and say, yeah, because we don't like guys, because men are bad. And I talked about this in my Rogue One thing. There was a guy in the comments who just says, I've never been ashamed about anything, or no one's ever shamed me. I don't think he understood what I was trying to say. Men do it all the time. And let me tell you how they do it. 15-year-old guy is having sex with a 38-year-old teacher. All of them in the comments none of them said that it was rape for the women. Most of them said the guys wanted it. So he was a willing participant in this. Most men think that if you have a hard-on, that you're wanting sex. Regardless, if we said the same thing, that a woman, when she is when she claims to be raped, and she's having lubricant that goes on, that apparently she's not wanting it. Guys will continually do this and say, well, if it would have been me, I'd have done it. Can you imagine being that guy? Now, I'm not saying that this 15-year-old, I mean, he's 15 years old. He probably should have known better. You know, part of the people are like, you know, he could have thrown him off her. People don't understand. They just think that women don't have the power when they're a teacher. A teacher can sit there and say, I want to fail you, or I'm going to do this to you, or anything like that. So there is, it's something that we do. Men, you don't see men marching. If you look at the stats that we have when it talks about suicide or the VA, the guys dying before they get serviced, we don't do it. I don't know why that is. But if it was a woman starts crying about stuff like that, guess what we do? We try to do things because we are what we are. This society is gynocentric, and it's like I said in the Rogue One. It gets to the point where when it's in your face all the time, and it's some 23-year-old girl who doesn't understand a damn thing about life, and she says the rapists aren't the guys around the bushes trying to do things. It's the person that sits next to you in the class. You know, the guy that did well in school and is going to college. You know, that whole thing, that 1 out of 5, that bullshit stat that the feminists put out there. It's just over and over and over and over to paint us as the oppressors, not just with pay or it's also us being the perpetrators all the time. And he talks about this, and I didn't put it in there. She never says accused any of this. In the entire 25-minute ramble bullshit that she said everybody is a perpetrator. Even the people that was true that they didn't do anything. Because she believes even if it's proven that nothing happened, these women are still victims and the men are still perpetrators. Why does anybody listen to this person? And why does any man listen to this one person? And why is she allowed to sit there and, I mean, seriously, you can be kicked out of YouTube for a lot of stupid things. But she is part of a hate movement. And she just puts this out there to divide us over and over again. And it's those of us who've actually looked at feminist theories find out this is exactly what they wanted to do. They've already done it with the family unit, and now they're trying to do it even so much now. Before I go, I want to talk about, because I'm from Florida, and we had a Republican governor, which I didn't vote for, but anyway, he's our governor. The House and the Senate, which is mostly Republican, they had a bill that was supposed to reform alimony and parental stuff. Large support. The populace was for it. Basically, it is that in this state you can be paying alimony for life for a woman, even though apparently, I guess they can't take care of themselves, even though they're so empowered now. If you married a woman and you get divorced, you can pay alimony for the rest of her life, even though she could have a job and all those other stuff. She could have money, but you still have to pay her for life. I guess when you decide that you're going to have a marriage, that's it. You have to pay for life. So, of course, the alimony laws were 100 years old and needed to be fixed. So they put a bill out there, and it looked like it was going to be signed. But there was also something about shared parenting. So you would have thought that if you want to be equal and you wanted men to have more say when it comes, not say, but to see their kids more often, not to hold the state over them, that take you to jail for not giving alimony, that the feminists would be behind it. Well, that's not what happened in this state, and it doesn't happen anywhere. The National Organization of Women and other feminist groups like them came out and pressured our great governor, and he vetoed the fucking bill. All we wanted to do was to reform the alimony laws. They were still going to give women some money for a while till they got on their feet and do something more. But instead, a man has to still pay for a mistake that they both made. And he vetoed also the thing about shared parenting. Because at the end of the day, these women know what they want. They want money. And if you started getting the kids at dad's house, and they'll look at that and say, well, you're at dad's house, we're not going to pay the woman as much as she wanted. This is all this has been about. This is them about they want to be victims, and they want money to be it. And the feminists have, all you got to do is look it up. There's probably $6-7 billion that are sent to these type of organizations and federal funding, and it's all part of this victim industry. And maybe later on I'll talk about it. So, but that's all I have today. If you have any comments about John, and like I said, I'll put something down below, or Laci, we can talk about that. Or you want to talk about alimony and why in this state, if you get married here, you might have to pay alimony for life if you decide to divorce somebody. Now, women don't do this. This is a man thing. You guys thank you for watching, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.